G'day guys and gal. Now I generally have my finger on the pulse regarding Warhammer and tabletop related things. It's my job after all. So imagine my surprise when out of nowhere, a random ass Kickstarter called Trench Crusade made over $3.3 million, with over 20,000 backers. What the hell? That doesn't just randomly happen. This only happens when you have some kind of passion-driven project that is taken to the next level. Now obviously there is a lot of Warhammer influence here, but they also seem to have created something pretty special, so I thought I'd ask the question, what the hell is Trench Crusade? Now this video isn't sponsored by Trench Crusade, so I don't have to link them or promo them. I'm genuinely just curious, and I'm sure you are as well. However, I will take this time to announce that Major Minis is officially launching its 30% off store-wide Black Friday sale, lasting 2 weeks only, so perfect time to get a mini before Christmas. We don't really run sales on Major Minis. I price my models what I believe is fair for my business and my customers. I don't do those fake bullshit sales, with the biggest discounts I usually do being like 10% for signing up. Other than DICE members, they get a bit more. So 30% off is wild, but with how much you guys have supported me this year, it's my pleasure to offer it. Every item on the store, from the carry cases to the VIP models, to the large scale models, to even the bundle deals, which are already like 20% off, get another 30% off thrown on top of that. It's actually wild. Other deals, like free shipping at $100 USD, still apply. So if you wanted a Golden Warrior, a Space Elf, a Xenonid, an Orc, a Shark Daddy, or anything else for the cheapest it's ever been, then now is the time. Link is below. On another note, we're giving away over $2,000 worth of Blood Angels as a cheeky Christmas gift to one of our lucky Dice Dioramas members. You can become a member for as little as $10 a month, which gives you access to the discount codes, giveaways like the Blood Angel one we're currently running, and a lot more. This Sunday, 12 AM Australian time, we're also hosting a pro painter in the live Discord for all DICE members. He'll be showing an easy, fast method of painting Tyranids. So if you want to take your painting to the next level, or just like to paint Tyranids, you can join this private workshop for only $10, where you can even ask the painter questions. Usually this shit would cost you like $100 or more. Also, the Christmas merch drop is live. Some dope shit in there for you as well. Fuck man, it's been a busy month. I'm so tired. But yeah, Black Friday Major Minis, massive Blood Angel giveaway, and private workshop for DICE members, and merch drop. It's fucking Christmas in here. Today we'll go over what the hell Trench Crusade is, and why it popped off so hard on Kickstarter. And let's get into it. It's no secret Games Workshop has its entire hand in the cookie jar for tabletop gaming. There isn't many solid competitors, and that's generally because Warhammer is just way fucking cooler and has so many more options for armies. However, there is a lot of criticism towards the actual gameplay. A lot of people aren't super stoked with the fact that one player does their entire turn, movement, psycho, shooting, charging, melee abilities, and so on, before the other player can even really respond, meaning that games can be really one-sided without too much room to tactically respond to your opponent. Like imagine in chess if you got to make 10 moves before the other person could do their first. So a lot of these newer tabletop games with different fundamental gameplay rules have been popping off, and I've heard they're pretty awesome. The only issue is that because they're so niche, it's difficult to find people to play with, as a lot of them use their own models. Enter in Trench Crusade, a grimdark alternative take on World War I, where tech is way more advanced and demons are a thing. Now I can't comment too much on the gameplay, as I'm not much of a tabletop gamer myself, I just like painting models and the lore. However, I can say that Trench Crusade does use alternating order activations, like chess, which a lot of people love. From what I read, it does share a lot of similarities with base Warhammer gameplay, but also seems a bit more streamlined. You get notable advantages from firing from better positions, your units can be wounded, which debuffs them, or blessed, which buffs them. The games also seem smaller scale than Warhammer, more like skirmishes. You won't have units of 20 blasting the shit out of each other, more so kill teams running around a map. Almost seems like a blend of D&D and Warhammer battle gameplay, but I also could be chatting absolute shit right now, since my experience with D&D is confined to Baldur's Gate 3 and I'm a noob at Warhammer Tabletop. Something I do know a bit about though is lore, and Trench Crusade does actually have some pretty cool lore. It isn't actually a sci-fi setting per se, more like a dark fantasy with elements of pre-modernization. I'm sure there's a better word for it than that, but I'm just a dumb fuck retard YouTuber. Basically, the lore is that during the Crusades, when the Christian Templars were killing a bunch of brown people over whose imaginary friend in the sky was better, a couple of Templars went rogue and opened up the gates to hell in Jerusalem, as you do. The hordes of hell strode forth and started fucking shit up, with the world fighting for the next few hundred years to stay alive. Although humanity lives on, the non-stop war against hell has twisted our world into a vicious and violent thing. Religious zeal and fanaticism is rife throughout mankind, which is fair since they have to fight literal hell. The impression I get is that it's 100% just hectic, grimdark, demonic fantasy shit. Warhammer on the other hand is grimdark, but it also has comedy, romance, mystery, adventure, nobility, even some feel-good moments. That's why Warhammer is so awesome, it's so diverse. Trench Crusade seems a lot more focused and straightforward, which is fantastic for what it it wants to be, a solid, easy to get into skirmish game with a sick grimdark aesthetic. Now Trench Crusade didn't just randomly pop out of nowhere and blow the fuck up. It's been a niche but beloved game for a while, with people using kit bashes of Warhammer models or 3D printed models to play it. It was actually created by an ex-GW employee who created the beloved Mordheim game as well as Warhammer 6th edition. So it's got some experience behind it. Something that a lot of people love about it is the fact that you can use your own printed minis for it, even though it now technically has its own official minis. It's a lot more centered around the community, with third-party models being like mods for the game. Think of it starting off how Counter-Strike started, as a mod of another game, before becoming its own thing. However, it brought the spirit of it being a community mod with it via allowing you to continue to use your previous custom Trench Crusade minis. There are 6 factions. The first are the Trench Pilgrims, heavily armored and powerful fanatics that are first in line in the fight against the forces of hell. I'm very much getting Sisters of Battle and Cult of Sigma vibe from these guys, so extreme in their faith that they can be hard to differentiate from the demons they hate. Then there is the New Antioch, a bastion of faith against the darkness. They seem to be the main good guy faction against hell and seem to have the Space Marines of Trench Crusade with medieval guardsmen backing them up. Then there is the Heretic Legion, those of humanity who have fallen to the worship of the forces of hell and used as their cannon fodder. This faction has the Heretic Guardsmen, as well as a few pretty sick anointed models that seem like Chaos Warriors or could even be modded into a unique style of Chaos Marine. Then there is the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent, which appears to be Satan's true warriors, much more demonic and spooky than the Heretic Legion, featuring multiple awesome demon models as well as their own Hell Knights, which look like cool skinnier Chaos Warriors. Then there is the Black Grail, which is like the Nurgle of the setting, created from a demonic disease which ravaged the world in a vicious plague. Those that embraced the plague became a part of the Order of the Fly, aka Nurgle. They feature a number of horrific abominations, zombie-like units and so on, including a Dark Souls-looking Plague Knight. And finally, a bit of a random faction is the Sultanate of the Iron Wall, a faction of Muslim warriors who cling to their own faith and fight to keep external forces from their lands, both infernal and faithful. This faction has steampunk janissaries, a few cool monster units and whatnot. Overall, the models are pretty cool. They are well made and detailed. However, I wouldn't exactly say that they're particularly inspired or unique. In every model, you can see a direct link to Warhammer Fantasy, Age of Sigmar, 40k, or from software games like Bloodborne or Dark Souls, and hey, that's okay. I think the purpose of the Trench Crusade Kickstarter was to give the game a solid foundation, a beating heart that people can build upon, which is evidenced by most of the reward tiers only providing digital files. This did create a bit of a controversy, not much, but a little bit, as the $533 tier, which I assume is in USD, gives you a physical book and dice, however the rest is just digital files that you need to then print. Which, yeah, if you printed everything would take a number of hours and cost like $100 or so in resin, and that's assuming you already have spent the money for a printer and the hours required to figure it out. I'm not saying if it's good or bad value, I'm just pointing it out. So why do I think Trench Crusade has done so fucking well on Kickstarter? Well, it already had a passionate existing audience that loved the style of gameplay. It was also founded by a renowned tabletop game designer and appears to be a lot more focused in both gameplay and narrative than a 40k game. The lore is basic but cool enough, helps keep it focused, not having a million worlds and 10,000 characters to keep track of, and the models are dope. Sure, as I said, they are uninspired, and the proportions and details make them look challenging to paint, but the style is consistent and they're all super professional, which is great. You could definitely proxy a number of them as Warhammer models as well. The Azebs would be great Talon troops, Hell Knights would make great Chaos Warriors, New Antioch Shock Troopers or Yeomen would be a sick take on Guardsmen, and so on. Speaking of models, bit random, but I am actually aggressively hiring new modelers and concept artists at the moment. So if you're a modeler for tabletop, then hit me up via email or Discord. I personally love it when these kind of projects take off. GW does have the market by the balls, and occasionally that leads them to making brain-dead decisions that hurt the community. So I actively encourage for there to be other options beyond just Warhammer. So this brings me to my final question. Is Trench Crusade better than Warhammer? Well, no, in my opinion, but it was never supposed to be. It was supposed to be different. Warhammer has cooler, more unique models, more options, more in-depth gameplay, a significantly bigger story that is wildly fleshed out. But I don't think Trench Crusade wants to be this big ambitious Warhammer killer. It wants to create a focused, straightforward skirmish game that's fun and has an equally straightforward story to back it up. In saying that though, with the success of this Kickstarter, I would expect to see Trench Crusade's scope and ambition really explode. After all, they have hired Graham McNeil and Gavin Thorpe, two awesome Black Library writers, to create stories for the lore, so I will watch Trench Crusade with great interest. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up a major mini for Black Friday, join Dice Dioramas for your chance to win a Blood Angels army, as well as get access to the painting workshop happening on Sunday, or pick up some Majorkill Christmas merch. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more Crusading content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.